Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're just going to be doing a super simple network. Just two routers, if I can find them particularly. There we go. I do apologize, I'm a little bit sleepy. So we're just going to have two routers and a device at the end of each. Alright, so we're going to have one network here, one network in between, and one network in the end. So if I can get this small line going here, then another one, if I can get this out of the way, then we're going to have something like this. This is usually how I like to maybe that was a bad line. This is usually how I like to separate the routers. Just visually in my mind, it helps. It just helps me a little bit. So we're just gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna start off with a class A address. So don't mind this screen. Class A, and it's gonna be well, the first one, the first IP. I'm going to give it to the router, mostly because I give it in order of importance. So whichever has the highest importance has the closest to the lowest or the first IP address. So first I would give it to, okay, apparently that just did the thing by itself. So I would first give the very first IP to the router. Then if there was a switch and I needed to give it an IP, I would give it to a switch. Then, in order of importance, like a server or whatever. And yeah, basically that's my logic for just dealing with that. So we're just going to give it to the PC. We're going to give it 1.0.0.2, and then on this side of the router, on this interface, we're going to be giving it a 1.0.0.1. And in the middle there will be no devices. However, we still need to give it a network, because that's what a router does. It routes in between networks. So since we're starting from the left, we're going to give it on the other interface, on interface, let me see if I can actually get the, it does show the port labels, but they're not connected. So on this interface, we're going to have 2001. On the gig 0 interface, we're going to have 2002. And on the right side, we're going to have 3001, again, because we're starting from left to right. And I usually like to give the routers the number 1, like the first usable IP address. And the PC gets 3002. So basically this is how I line up each network in my mind. I usually have this part, like half. I usually cut the router half, and then left side is one network, the right side is another one network. And as you can see right here, they're both sharing the same network, like on this interface on this side. However, you will notice that because it's sharing, it has two interfaces, right? It knows both networks. So it knows the 1000 network and it knows the 2000 network. However, it does not know the 300 network, and vice versa. This router knows 300, 2000, or 2000 network. I think I added an extra 0. So it knows the 2 network and the 3 network. However, it doesn't know the 1000 network. So in order for each router to know where to route the packets and everything, it has to have either a static routing table. I believe it's called a routing table. I think they'll have a routing table, but you must insert a manual, like, static route. This basically, think of it as like giving it directions to or giving it a person or a thing it should ask for directions. So it's like telling it, if you don't know 300, go ahead and ask router 1, whatever, but ask this IP address. And basically that's the oversimplified way. And the second way is with, which we will not be doing today. It is through dynamic routing, which is an automatic and way easier way to route. It's called RIP. It's like the RIP protocol. I don't know too much about it. Just that it like communicates. The routers communicate with each other, and they basically fill in the gaps. So that's basically oversimplified view, and it's way easier, of course, because it's automatic. So let's stop babbling on. So usually, if I recall correctly, crossover is for like devices, and straight through is for um, not like devices. So devices that are different from each other, technically, because they need to be crossover if they have to like communicate with each other. I'm not too sure, but I just know like router to router has to be crossover, and PC to router is usually straight through. So let's go ahead and select the straight through cable. You can just select the automatic one and it just automatically does it, but I wanted to do it manually just to get into the mindset. So we're going to do not a crossover, straight through. I'm going to connect it to the only Ethernet port this PC has, and then connect it to the router. And we're going to connect it to the very first port, because like I said, I usually try to take it from 0 and then go up. Give me a second so I can check this out. Did the automatic use the automatic use a copper crossover? For what reason, I'm not entirely sure, but let's see. Will this also use crossover? Okay, it does use crossover. I thought only the routers use crossover, but I guess not. So we're just gonna use the automatic cable attacher. So as you can see, it goes from the FA00 to gig00. Then we use the gig01 interface to connect it to the 0 interface, so basically like this side of this router. Then the gig01 to the PC. So make sure you have the preferences. Go to preferences, make sure you have this always show port labels in logical workspace. This will help you see exactly which interface is being used for what. So now all we have to do is just, let me write here, just on the side, because we're doing static routing in IPv4. So this is just going to be static routing, just so we don't forget. So let's just go ahead and open the PC, go to desktop, IP configuration, and this is all we're doing right now is just assigning it its IP. We're going to give it a static IP address, which is what we kind of like workshopped before. We kind of, when we designed the network, this is what we had in mind to give this PC, like this IP. So now we're going to do it for real and actually assign it. So let's do 1.0.0.2. The subnet mask, since it is a class A, would be 255.0.0.0, but here it's going to be filled in automatically for us. And the gateway is basically the gate, or like where you want the traffic to exit. So for us, we're going to set 1001 because it is the router and it's the interface that this is connected to. So it's only natural that it's going to exit and leave this the network through this. This is like think of it like an actual gate that opens into like the external network, and this is where it leaves from. It goes in here and leaves through here. So this is what we're gonna set up for the default gateway. IPv6, we're not gonna touch that. We're gonna do that in a different video. 802.1x, we're also not going to touch that, and I'm not entirely too sure on this. Like, I know it's for Wi-Fi wireless security, but we're not going to touch it for now. So go ahead and close this once you have that set up, And here comes the hard part. We're going to go to router 0, and you could configure it with all of these settings. Like I told you, we're going to do static, not RIP today, and VLAN database. I'm not too sure about this one. And as you can see here, gig 0, when I say gig 0, I mean like gigabit Ethernet 0/0. So we have all the interfaces here. As you can see, gig 0 is here, gig 1 is here, gig 2 we're not using, so it's going to be unused. And you can just click each one and set it up, you know, to the graphical interface. But that's cheating. So we're going to do it the good old-fashioned way, which is through the command line. Now, if I remember the commands, because it's been quite a while. So we usually, once you're first into the router, you're gonna get this dialog thing. Just go ahead and click no or return or whatever. You should just skip over it. Then we're just gonna type in en to enable. This basically gives us a more privilege to do more like privilege commands, or to run more privilege commands. Without it, you wouldn't be able to do much, I believe. I think you only get like a little bit. Yeah, you don't get too much. Nothing too like powerful. And by the way, if you don't know how I got all of these, I just put in the question mark, which usually gives you like an autofill, I guess, which helps you. And it also works more specifically, so you can do like SSH or something, and then question mark, and only give you more specifics on what parameters and arguments you can feed into it. So we're just gonna do, I don't think I can clear, but we're just gonna do en to give us this. En is short for enable. We're gonna do en to give us the privilege mode, and since we need to configure the IPs for each interface, we're just gonna type in conf, which stands for configure, but we're just gonna put conf and t, which stands for terminal. So it would just be like this, configure terminal. But you can just do conf t, which is like the shorter version. Now we are in a global configuration mode. So with this, you can basically configure kind of like the entire router globally. It's like more general, and we're trying to figure out exactly which port we have. So because we're in config, most of our, or not most, all of our commands that we would need to exit for, we can just do. So this is like the pre, I forgot the word, but just put do before any other command that you would need to exit for. So for example, do show IP int, which stands for interface, and br, which stands for brief. And this would give us a small table which shows us all our interfaces. We also have VLAN 1, and also shows us if it's down, protocol down, and so on. So since we know there's interface G00, because of course we know it from here, but now we know it from the actual router. We can do int, stands for interface, and then G0/0, which basically is the short version of writing all of this out. And once we type that in, we're basically inside this interface, and we're able to edit, which means we're able to add IPs, we're able to do a whole bunch of stuff, add the subnet mask, like basically we can, everything that pertains to configuring this interface we can do. So I'm going to do a question mark, and this is basically all the options we have here. Quite a lot, as you can see. So to add an IP, we're just going to type in IP add, which basically stands for address. IP add, and then we're going to give it its IP. So 1.0.0.1 plus the subnet mask, which for Class A network is 255.0.0.0, And I believe that's all we need to add. That's for the gig 0. And now to actually bring this interface up to turn it on, we type in no, which basically no, what it does is it basically cancels um, whatever command you want to put it. So if I say no before this, it's basically gonna reverse what I did. So let's go ahead and edit this and remove that, and let's type in no shutdown or no sh, which is the short version. So shutdown basically means to turn off the interface, and putting no before it does the reverse, so it turns it on. It's a little bit weird, but you'll get used to it. So now we have it on. As you can see, the green indicator is telling us it's on. Okay, and now we're just going to do this side, the right side of this router, which is how I think about it. It's not really the right side, but it just helps to think about it like that for me. So now we're just going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go into interface G01 because we did G00, and now we're going to do the next one, which is G01, or whichever interface you're using. So go ahead and do that, and then the same exact thing, but of course, you know, the correct IP. So 2.0.0.1, pardon, and the mask, which is the same. And basically we are basically done, almost done. We just need to type in no sh, and this part, this half part of this router would be finished. Now type in no sh, and it should be up. If you don't see it turn green, that's perfectly fine. It turns green after this router on this side is also set up. Then they will both turn green. So don't panic if you don't see it turn green. Now I'm gonna do it here so I don't have to come back to it. We're going to right now we're going to do the static IP routing, which is basically going to enable this router to route to this network, because as it stands right now, it only recognizes this IP, this IP range, or this IP address, this like network or IP network range. If I say it correctly. So it knows 1000, like the network of 1000, and the network of 2000. That basically means 1.0.0.1, 1.0.0.2, 1.0.0.3, so like the whole range. And right, and it knows 200, 2001, 2002, like the entire range of that. I'm trying to think because it depends on the subnet mask, I believe. Um, the subnet mask really, it, the subnet mask really like enforces how many, I believe, how many bits are IPs and how many, no, how many bits are network and how many bits are host. So I was trying to like remember, like the network for Class C and everything like that. So right now we have Class A, so I believe this would go up to like 1.255.255.255. I think that would be like the very last IP address. Okay, so, or 254, whichever one is usable. So, okay, so I don't know if I confused even more, but just remember, for each interface side, we're adding the IP. So for gig 0, we're attaching this IP and the mask, which is 255.0.0.0. Then for gig 01, we're attaching this IP. So we're assigning, I think is a better word, and plus the subnet mask. And now, because this router doesn't know this network, because it's outside of like its range, technically, so it only knows 200 and 100. And it knows this as well because it's in the same range. It's in like the same IP range, but it doesn't know this because it's on this side, which it doesn't know. So in order for it to know this, we're gonna have to basically manually tell it how to find this IP range or this network. So for this, if I still remember, I believe it is IP route, and then the network ID of the network. So it is the network ID is 3.0.0.0, and the mask, which we know is a class A, so we're just going to give it the same mask. And then this is going to be the next hop, which is basically the person or the router that it goes to ask for directions. So for network of 3001, the next hop would be 2002. So it's basically it has to be known. Like the next hop has to be something the router knows, which this it does know because it's in the 200 range, and it would ask it basically where the 3000 network is. So it's basically like asking it for directions technically. So you're telling it to ask for directions for 3000 from 2002. And basically I believe this is correct. Oh yeah, we have to exit out because as you can see we're in config.if. So this is the interface configuration. So not the appropriate place where we're supposed to set this up. So we're supposed to be in the global configuration when we do this. So basically the same thing, 255.0.0.0, and actually it's a good thing it told me invalid input because I forgot to put in the next hop, which is 2.0.0.0.2, which is this one as we discussed. And I think this is all finished. So this router is perfectly fine, finished, and we're just gonna quit out of it and open this one. And in this one we do the same exact thing. So this is gonna be the first dialog we see. Press no, then we press enter. Then we do the exact same thing, en for enable, giving us advanced or higher privileges. Then we head on over to configure terminal, which gives us global configuration, and we can configure a bunch of stuff here. Then we're gonna do show IP intbr, same exact thing to figure out the interfaces. If you already know them, this command isn't really useful. If you already know the interfaces, like we know already the interfaces, we could have just skipped this command. So int interface, and then it's going to be this one. Alright, so we're just going to do interface and then gig00, which is on this side. And of course you could just type in the whole thing, gigabit ethernet 0/0, but it's too much, so this is like the short version of it. So we're going to do int g00, and then we're basically inside the interface. Now we're just going to assign the IP add, short for address, and then just gonna do the left side first because we're in gig00. I'm gonna add this IP and the same subnet mask because it's a class A network, and go ahead and hit type in no sh, hit enter, and if you get this like these weird lines that like tell you what happened, just press enter and it goes away. So now you should see the green is it's green now, and it can communicate like up to here. So now let's do the 3001. So you don't even have to exit from here, just do interface gig01, and then we do the same thing, 3001. The mask is the same because it's a class A address, and can't forget the no sh, which basically turns it on, turns it up. And now we hit exit to get into our global configuration mode, and we do the same thing we did in the other router, because this router knows 3000 network and 2000 network. If you're wondering why I'm saying 2000, that is the network ID, aka the first IP address, not the first usable IP address, but the first address, which basically identifies like the network. So because it knows 3000 and 2000, what IP doesn't it know? So let's say it knows up to here, right? And it knows this. So what IP doesn't it know? it doesn't know this range, the 1000, the 1000. I thought I said too many zeros for a second, but it doesn't know this IP, like this range, the 1000 network. So, like we did with the other router, we're just gonna tell it manually how to find that network. So we're gonna type in IP route and then the network that we want to know or to access. Then we're gonna type in the mask, which is class A, again 255.0.0.0, and then the